Is she ever going to get to the point where she literally looks in the mirror and goes, nobody's interested in my jam or my life, nobody likes me, shut the hell up?
Earlier today, Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
Stop acting like the tin pot tycoon and get a damn job.
Harry says, how do you explain to someone who's just started dating that they have to curtsy to your own grandmother?
How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American? Like, that's weird.
And I'm thinking, maybe just tell her that your grandmother is the queen.
Why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
There's another bag.
That confuses people.
7,000 a day. It's never gonna work. It's never gonna work, Meghan. Give up now. I'm not joking.
Food TikTok lives for a juicy takedown, and last night it found a royal target. Clip after clip showed Meghan Markle's $14 apricot loose fruit spread sliding off toast like melted ice cream, dripping down fingertips, while influencers gasped, "Jam should not do that." One foodie even scooped a spoonful straight from the jar, tipped it sideways, and watched it pour like orange syrup.
Apparently Prince Harry is already talking to divorce lawyers.
Fantasy. I think she's lost in her own world.
Her imposter syndrome is adorable. I don't know who she's trying to convince. I'm probably us, since we talk about it pretty regularly.
Within minutes, the duet train was rolling. A pastry instructor from Pasadena stitched the video, held up her grandmother's set strawberry conserve, and announced, "This is jam. That is runny fruit sauce with couture packaging." The comment count exploded. The timing could not have been worse for the Duchess. Only a week earlier, her official lifestyle page had posted a slow-motion reel of those same jars, sunshine glinting through the glass while violins swelled. The caption praised small-batch craftsmanship and family-friendly consistency. Now, side-by-side edits revealed a sticky truth. Whatever looked thick on camera turned thin in real kitchens. Fans who paid for the first drop flooded DMs demanding clarity.
Once at a gig, the back was Harry and William, Madonna and Paul McCartney. Not one of them paid.
One early buyer uploaded an email screenshot where customer service blamed ambient shipping temperatures, which did little to calm the storm. Then culinary authority Donna Collins weighed in. On her syndicated morning segment Jam School, Collins called Meghan's product an unfinished preserve dressed in boutique glass, pointing out that traditional jam must gel thanks to precise fruit-to-pectin ratios. Within hours, Collins's quote circled entertainment sites under the headline, "Duchess Jam Fails Basic Test." If that language sounds dramatic, remember Collins helped draft the very training guides wholesalers use to judge texture. When she says the spread is not jam, gourmet buyers listen.
Even her kids are fake produce, it turns out.
Well,
we don't know that.
Looks like they could be.
But yeah, so I mean, everything she does is fake. It's so fake.
None of this removes the shine from Meghan's launch reel, but it injects doubt into the story behind the spoon. Viewers are now asking whether the Duchess skipped a regulatory hurdle or simply gambled that fans would forgive an artisanal hiccup. Little do they know, federal labeling rules can be merciless, and state inspectors have already taken notice. The federal code could not be clearer. Under Title 21, Chapter 1, Part 150, a jar may carry the word jam only if its soluble solids content reaches 65% and the finished spread can sit on a biscuit without sliding. Inspectors actually tip test samples to confirm a proper gel. Meghan's glass bottles carry no such claim. Instead, the label reads loose fruit spread with organic cane sugar, followed by a breezy note about embracing natural flow. That single phrase might save the Duchess thousands in fines, because once you duck the jam category, you also duck the corresponding benchmarks.
After all, she's got scam jam to sell, and now an exciting new range of apricot spread.
Still, California's Department of Food and Agriculture treats any preserve with more than 1/2 cup sugar per pound of fruit as jam for compliance purposes. A senior compliance advisor speaking on background warns that creative wording will not block an audit if consumers feel misled. The stakes are hefty. Mislabeling under state code can trigger civil penalties up to $10,000 per production run, plus mandatory relabeling or destruction of stock. That adds up fast when each microbatch ships in designer packets in silk ribbon. Meghan's team tried to footnote their way around trouble by printing "best spooned, not spread" on the underside of the jar, yet regulators frown on fine print that contradicts front panel imagery showing jam-covered scones. If inspectors decide intent was to evoke traditional jam while sidestepping its rules, penalties climb even higher for deceptive marketing.
Is her scam jam online store in business? Is it on hold? Or is it dead in the water?
Insiders at a Los Angeles specialty foods brokerage reveal that 2 boutique grocers have already asked the state for clarification before committing shelf space. Until the agency responds, those stores plan to keep the product in back rooms, effectively freezing sales. Meghan's representatives insist everything meets all applicable regulations, but attorneys familiar with California food law note the phrase is often legal shorthand for ongoing review. So what exactly is in the jar if it cannot qualify as jam? Shipping logs suggest a cross-country trail far removed from any Montecito orchard. Next, we track the fruit's surprising journey from Midwest processors to that royal-priced glass. Paper trails never stay buried in the digital age. A routine bill of lading filed with the Interstate Commerce Commission lists 2,500 pounds of apricot extra choice grade puree, departing Kankakee, Illinois, bound for a co-packing facility in Oxnard, California.
I'm opening this cylinder now. If you're watching, what a ta-da!
The shipper of record, Prairie Fruit Solutions, a Midwest processor known for bulk purees sold to school cafeterias and bargain yogurt brands. Cost per pound, 32 cents. Factor in freight and pallet fees, and the finished puree lands in California at roughly 55 cents a pound. From Oxnard, the fruit moves only 60 miles to an artisanal co-packer that specializes in small batch celebrity lines. Here, the apricot gets simmered with organic cane sugar, dosed with pectin, and ladled into French-style hexagonal jars that retail for $1.20 a piece when bought by the pallet. Labels are printed in downtown Los Angeles for 8 cents each. Ribbons and wax seals tack on another 25 cents. Add it all, and the Duchess's jar, cap, and fruit cost less than $2 before labor. Yet Meghan's e-commerce checkout rings that same jar up at $14 plus shipping. Subtract a modest $1.50 for labor and utilities, and the gross markup sits right around 400%. Industry analysts usually defend luxury margins by citing rare heirloom fruit or estate-grown herbs. In this case, the so-called royal recipe uses commodity puree shipped nearly 2,000 miles by diesel truck, hardly the carbon-neutral provenance the lifestyle site implies.
It tastes of entitlement, greed, avarice and deception.
Once this supply chain map leaked onto Reddit, consumer rights blogs pounced. A headline on Celeb Food Watch blared, "Royal Ripoff, Organic Jam Starts Life in Corn Belt Truck Stops." The story gained traction when a Chicago freight dispatcher confirmed that 3 more pallets of the same puree are scheduled for California next month, a clue that the Duchess's home harvest bounty is really an Illinois import pipeline. Legal forums now buzz with talk of deceptive origin claims because U.S. law requires made-in statements to reflect where primary processing occurs. If regulators decide prairie fruit puree constitutes primary processing, Meghan's Montecito-inspired branding could come under fire. And while lawyers argue over geography, everyday consumers are focusing on one simpler number: $14. Online sentiment has tilted from curiosity to sticker shock outrage, and those micro batches might not vanish so quickly when the next drop hits. Scarcity hype, though, is its own art form, and in Section 4 we unpack how limited runs and sold-out banners keep the hustle alive even when warehouse shelves are hardly empty. Sold out in 20 minutes. Meghan's Instagram flashed the banner in dusty pink script, prompting frantic hearts and flame emojis, but a boutique food distributor in Ventura County tells a calmer story. According to his purchase orders, the inaugural apricot run totaled 1,174 jars, blackberry just over 1,000, and rose petal barely 900. That would be a slow Tuesday for a mid-tier farmer's market, he said, chuckling that any celebrity line could disappear at that scale.
Meghan, it's just like we see right through your fake behavior, and no amount of saying how kind you are is going to make people think, oh, isn't she so kind? All of the nasty things you have done, we know.
The math means a single influencer haul, say 30 boxes sent as PR gifts, can shave 3% off total stock before the public even clicks add to cart. Drop those numbers into a countdown timer, sprinkle a few reposts of empty shelves, and scarcity becomes self-fulfilling. Daily Mail columnist Richard Eden calls it the oldest bit of showbiz alchemy, where microdrops masquerade as mass frenzy. Brands like Supreme perfected the method, but fashion hype usually leads to higher volume releases down the line. With Meghan's jam, the quantities remain tiny, ensuring each release can claim instant sell-through while protecting the notion of artisanal exclusivity. Yet experts warn the tactic boomerangs once curious shoppers realize they never had a fair shot. One comment under the latest announcement reads, "If 10 jars vanish in 2 minutes, that is not demand, that is rationing." A West Hollywood social strategist who manages launches for wellness startups points out another quirk. The Duchess posts her sold-out update before refund emails even finish processing for delayed shipments. Customers will forgive a wait, but they hate being used as props, she said. Screenshots of pending orders now circulate with sarcastic captions like, "Did mine sell out too?" That skepticism threatens the golden rule of drop culture. People buy because they believe they might miss out. Once the illusion cracks, the countdown clock becomes a punchline instead of a lure. Even Meghan's own website seems to hedge its bets. The fine print under the Notify Me button hints at restock dates subject to ingredient availability, suggesting a convenient escape hatch if backlash forces larger batches. But larger batches invite scrutiny of consistency and origin, and the Illinois pipeline cannot hide behind exclusivity forever. Next, we put taste buds to the test, lining the Duchess's spread against supermarket stalwarts and watching professional palates deliver their verdict.
These two are not sincere people. They say that they want their privacy while going on every television show, writing books, doing 6 hours of Netflix. They're not very likable, and people are tired of
3 pastry chefs, 3 unlabeled jars, 1 blind showdown. We staged it inside a sunlit Santa Monica test kitchen, aligning Meghan's loose fruit spread beside Bon Mamana apricot conserve and Trader Joe's budget option. No one knew which jar held the Duchess's creation. Chef Ileana Reyes of La Vida Dulce tasted first, eyes closed and frowned. Thin body, high acid, strong canned note, she said. Chef Marcus Lee, known for plating desserts at a Michelin hotspot called Sample 2, surprisingly flat, like over-filtered juice. Only Chef Alyssa Boone preferred the texture, praising its silky pour. When we revealed brands, jaws dropped. Meghan's $14 jar ranked last in flavor and aroma, edging out competitors only in presentation. Numbers looked worse. Laboratory analysis showed 12 grams of sugar per tablespoon, topping both rival jams by nearly 15%. That spike undercuts the wellness narrative printed on the label, wholesome fuel for joyful mornings. Boone joked, joyful maybe, dentist approved, no. Calorie counts trek higher too, clocking 50 per serving, while low-sugar supermarket varieties hover around 37. Texture finished the takedown. Traditional jam owes its set to pectin and fruit solids, yet Meghan's spread runs at 42% soluble solids, well under the legal jam benchmark. That explains the viral drip videos and Donna Collins' critique. Worse, a comparative spoon test showed Bon Amon holding its glossy dome for 5 seconds longer, even after light microwave warming. Reyes summed it up. We pay for taste, not titles. Feedback rippled onto TikTok. Viewers stitched our taste test reel into their refund request emails citing quality misrepresentation. One shopper posted her return confirmation and quipped, $14 back in my crown fund. Shopify dashboards indicate spike and drop traffic patterns, heavy on product page refreshes but light on completed carts since the reviews landed. Meghan's team stayed silent, resharing only influencer praise from earlier in the week, but silence seldom cools culinary outrage.
I nearly entered rehab yesterday. That is the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen on television in my life.
TikTok loves a catchy chant, and this one hit the For You page like a drumline. Royal ripoff. A food blogger mouthed the phrase while zooming on Meghan's drip video, then flashed her own apricot conserve from a corner grocery. Price tag $3. Views snowballed overnight. Soon creators stitched side-by-side demos. 1 jar of Duchess spread versus a homemade batch boiled on a stovetop in real time. The homemade version set firm enough to slice within 10 minutes, while Meghan's remained syrup. Commenters piled in with incredulous takes. One high school senior calculated that the $14 spent on a single jar could fund 5 days of cafeteria lunches. Parents followed with budget breakdowns, converting jam cost into diaper packs or fuel gallons. The hashtag vaulted past 1.8 million views by sundown, sentiment trackers logging a 40+% swing from neutral curiosity to outright annoyance. Influencers sensed an algorithmic feast. A thrifty chef launched the Royal Ripoff Challenge. Replicate the Duchess recipe for under $2 and tag the video. Kitchen novices across the globe dumped supermarket apricots, sugar, and lemon into saucepans, then triumphantly held up their cooling jars while chanting Royal Ripoff. A data firm plotting social chatter noted positive mentions peaked on launch week, then cratered, replaced by refund codes and eye-roll emojis. By Thursday afternoon, Shopify analytics for the lifestyle site showed abandoned carts outpacing completed transactions 2-to-1. Meghan's digital team tried counter-programming with glossy reels of floral picnic spreads, but the sound loop kept getting hijacked. Users overlaid her music with sarcastic voiceovers detailing their own jam disasters. The Duchess's comment sections, once filled with heart emojis, now bristle with skepticism, each inquiry about texture answered by fellow shoppers warning of watery toast. Marketers call this brand snowballing when negative reviews feed themselves faster than any official statement can melt them. Retail partners monitor hashtags as closely as health codes, and 2 West Coast chains have already paused shelf placement until sentiment cools.
This business model is just useless. It's useless.
Monday morning, the merchandising team at Harvest Row Markets convened in a glass-walled conference room overlooking Santa Monica Bay. On the agenda sat Meghan's apricot spread, penciled into next month's new item shelf plan. 20 minutes later, it was scrubbed. The category lead, a veteran who once greenlit Oprah's favorite bread mix, opened with screenshots of the Royal Ripoff tag trending on TikTok. Sentiment graphs glowed furious red. We stock premium, she said, not controversy. Slotting fees for a single California location run nearly $8,000. No buyer wants to gamble that sum on jars customers might photograph in store just to mock online. Across town, boutique chain Sun & Salt ran its own cost-to-risk analysis. Their wellness demographic skews female, 40-plus, median income $130,000. Perfect fit, you would think, for Duchess branding. Except customer surveys showed that same demographic turned unforgiving the moment luxury appears disingenuous. Marketing VP Ravi Dayal summarized it in an internal memo. Price premium must equal ingredient story. Midwest puree and French glass does not pass. The store's tasting committee confirmed initial concerns. Inconsistent set, overly sweet, thin fruit particulates. Dayal's verdict, delay until reformulation or a significant price correction. Even retailers outside California sense danger. A Pacific Northwest specialty grocer had scheduled a late summer promo featuring Meghan's entire line, jam, tea, cookie mix, and the upcoming fig preserve. After the TikTok drip went viral, their legal counsel flagged potential mislabeling exposure. If loose fruit spread fails state jam standards, the grocer could face fines for stocking non-compliant goods. The order was frozen pending documentation from the Duchess's team. No paperwork arrived. The buyer moved on to a Napa Valley compote brand instead. Brand managers call this cold shelf contagion. Once one respected store punts, industry peers follow to avoid appearing reckless. That ripple threatens Meghan's growth blueprint because shelf presence validates a gourmet label far more than influencer unboxings. Without it, the product remains a mail-order niche facing an audience-growing warrior by the day.
Not forgetting her soon-to-be uncorked, thrillingly expensive Chateau Meg rosé wine.
Just when Meghan's team hoped the jam storm might blow east, a second front brewed in boiling water. Her $12 hibiscus rose blend, sold in pastel tins of just 8 pyramid sachets, landed in the crosshairs of watchdog group Fair Price Pantry. Volunteers traced the identical blend to an Illinois wholesaler named Prairie Bloom Botanicals, where 36 bags cost $14.99. Same dried petals, same citrus zest, even the faint vanilla note that Meghan's copywriters call winter sunset on the palate. Only difference, the Duchess swaps the plain string tag for a tiny foil crown and wraps each sachet in tissue printed with the Archewell crest. A Brooklyn-based nutritionist posted a side-by-side brew test on Instagram TV. Prairie Bloom's version steeped to a ruby hue in 3 minutes. Meghan's required a full 5 and still tasted, in her words, watery perfume. Commenters leapt at the price gap. If jam carried a 400% premium, tea floated near 500. The hashtag Royal Ripoff updated its menu. Jam for breakfast, rip-off tea at noon. Sentiment trackers measured a fresh spike, 40,000 new posts in 48 hours, now tagging grocery chains that still considered stocking the tins. Behind the scenes, consumer rights lawyers folded the tea data into a growing dossier titled Celebrity Markup Files. Their theory is simple. When a product's sole unique element is a famous face, and that face implies handcrafted luxury, buyers have grounds to allege deceptive pricing. 2 attorneys confirmed they are preparing demand letters to Archewell and retail partners asking for cost transparency. If ignored, a class action filing in California Superior Court could follow within the year. Retailers feel the tremor. Sun & Salt shelved samples for internal review and found sediment at the bottom of each cup, fine dust that usually indicates lower-grade leaf. Their beverage buyer emailed warehouse staff to quarantine the tins until verified test results arrive from an independent lab. One more hold, one more frozen invoice. By now, investors eye the crisis and see legal clouds gathering. Next, we examine whether those clouds could form a perfect storm of lawsuits, label rewrites, and settlement checks that dwarf any revenue the Duchess has pulled in so far. When attorneys start mapping kitchen tables on flowcharts, you know a food brand is wobbling. At the Century City offices of Gaines & Porter, a whiteboard now lists every claim Meghan's site makes: hand-selected orchard fruit, family-friendly consistency, ethical small batch. Red arrows connect each phrase to freight bills, lab tests, and TikTok footage of runny jam.
The Sussexes have been accused of moral cowardice for not publicly supporting the billionaire benefactor.
Lead partner Nia Porter specializes in deceptive pricing class actions, and she sees a pattern she calls celebrity aura surplus, charging a triple or quadruple premium while implying ingredients or craftsmanship that do not exist. Her team has already gathered 47 customer declarations, plenty to file in California's consumer division. Price isn't the only hook. State statutes forbid artisanal labels on products produced in automated kettles without direct maker oversight. Meghan's co-packer uses industrial agitators that can churn 900 jars an hour. Add misbranding under jam identity standards plus undisclosed wholesaler sourcing for the tea. And Porter believes damages could top $5 million once multiplied across 50 states. Insurance carriers dislike that figure. Underwriters for Archewell Foods are reportedly reviewing policy language to see if celebrity endorsement risk exclusions apply. If they refuse coverage, any settlement would come straight from the Sussex checkbook. Timing favors plaintiffs. The Federal Trade Commission will publish updated Made in USA rules later this year, tightening origin disclosures. Lawyers plan to file before the new standard, then amend once it takes effect, doubling leverage at settlement talks. Meghan's side could either fight and fuel bad press or rewrite every jar and tin, offer vouchers and eat shipping on returns. One precedent: a Los Angeles chef paid 7 figures plus label overhauls after peddling hand-harvested Pacific salt that actually came from inland ponds. That suit started with fewer affidavits than Porter already holds. Sources close to the Duchess whisper frantic activity, new compliance consultants, hush-hush test batches with extra pectin, and a draft statement promising greater transparency. Yet insiders doubt minor tweaks will calm lawyers or fans who feel fleeced. A private equity advisor bluntly told me, once you attach royal romance to a grocery product, you invite royal-size scrutiny, which leaves the looming finale. Will Meghan slash prices, scrap the line, or pivot again? In our
who flew them to California in his private jet and put them up at his palatial home, with friends like the dismal duo Who Needs Enemies.
Close your eyes and picture 3 possible mornings inside that Montecito kitchen. In the first scene, Meghan's phone buzzes with good news. She slashes her price in half, swaps Illinois puree for real Santa Barbara fruit, stamps every jar with an honest jam label, and invites the pastry chefs who flamed her to taste the upgrade. Social feeds flip from ridicule to cautious curiosity. Scarcity hype dies, but shelf space opens because buyers crave redemption arcs almost as much as scandal. The Duchess grins at the stove, apron dusted with genuine apricot pulp, and the royal ripoff tag melts into yesterday's algorithm. Second scene, letters from Gaines and Porter hit the inbox, followed by a stern notice from state inspectors. Rather than fight, Meghan pulls the whole gourmet project, citing her family's need for privacy. Refunds flow, jars vanish into clearance bins, and collector speculation starts. The narrative shifts from hustle to cautionary tale, a footnote in the influencer pricing wars. Meghan pivots back to books, documentaries, and maybe a safer lane like children's wellness. Fans forgive, but the gourmet dream dries up faster than a half-open jar on a summer picnic table. Third scene, pride digs in its heels. The price stays at $14, the label barely tweaks, and legal wrangling drags on. Retailers keep their freeze in place. TikTok turns every court filing into fresh memes. Insurance balks. Settlement costs balloon. Investors retreat. Inside Arcuwell, staff who once brainstormed peach basil now polish resumes, while accountants watch cash flow shrink like a pot of jam left to boil too long. Meghan may still command press attention, but every headline tags the hustle, and royal shine cannot cover a sticky balance sheet. Which future feels most believable to you? Can a bold recipe revamp win back trust, or is the price tag wound too deep to heal? Jump into the comments and spill your take. And if you crave more behind the velvet rope revelations, hit like, tap subscribe, and keep those notifications on. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you will not believe what is coming next.